So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dan here from Zephyr Games, bringing you a top 5 meta breakdown for the upcoming format. So we are now in Master Rule 5. We now no longer need to put our Synchros, XYZs or Fusion Monsters in the extra monster zone. They can go anywhere along the monster zone or in the extra monster zone should you want to. It does also mean Link Monsters and Pendulum Monsters still have to go to the extra monster zone or a zone a Link Monster points to. With that being said, as we are moving into a brand new era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or technically going back with some added bits, everyone would like to know what the best decks are for this upcoming format. Now, I'm going to bring you 2 different variations for today. I'm going to bring you my top 5 meta decks, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you or tell you how you turn those 5 meta decks into budget decks. So how you take out certain cards from the main kind of costs of those decks and make the deck a heck of a lot cheaper for yourselves. So that if you want to, you can actually play the decks as competitively as possible on a budget. Now, the 5 decks I'm going to bring you do not include cards that are coming out in upcoming sets, because for the European area, we do not know when we are going to get those cards. So for you in America TCG, you are still able to get the new Secret Slayers, I believe it is, set. You're going to be getting that on the 3rd of April, which is 2 days time from the day this video goes out. Us in the European areas have not got that new set coming out. We do not know how Konami are going to deal with that when it does come out, because we are still under lockdown / quarantine. So once that gets lifted, we don't know whether Konami are going to flood the market with all the stuff or whether they're going to put us on a delayed release. Now I think it would be very, very bad if they do put us on a delayed release, because then it means that you guys in America will be so far ahead of the game already that we'll just be playing catch up. But then on the downside, if they do flood the market with all the new products, some of the product is going to go amiss as well. It really depends on how long this lockdown lasts and how long the restriction on them shipping out products is going to last as well. If it's only like a week or 2 additional, doubt it, then they either hold off both areas, so America gets it the same time as us, which I doubt it, or I think when it comes to something like the brand new set that we're supposed to be getting in the middle of May, or towards the end of April, that's where it will become an issue. With Secret Slayers, it's okay because the cards in there aren't going to be meta defining, but they are going to be new introductions. So you've got the Adamantes, which I believe have now been changed, and you've got the new zombie art type as well. So there's a lot to be said, a lot to be done. But with that being said, I am going to take you through the 5 decks that you can build right here, right now, in your isolation chambers, ready to go, test them online, so that the second this is over, because you just had a brand new ban list, nothing massive is going to change. If anything, these 5 decks are going to get stronger or stay as they are and still compete with the current decks that are going to be introduced or increased. And the main deck that's going to get increased is Orcus. And even then, I still feel that Orcus float around the tail end of this list. With that being said, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on anything, and if you do have any suggestions for what you feel should be in the top 5, then please put them in the comments below. I'm just going to explain my opinions, and of course the opinions of everyone a part of Zephyr as well. I do ask them about their list and get them to suggest what they feel should be within the top 5. So, we are going to talk about the 5th position. Now, the 5th position was actually really, really hard to kind of nail down. Purely because there were so many decks that floated around the 5th place that we were kind of like, are they good enough? And all we could really go off on some of these was, yes, they get better, or they're unaffected by the changes in Master Rule. They can still operate the same. They still have the same amount of control. So in 5th place, we're going with Salomon Grace. Now, the reason we're going with Salomon Grace is, number 1, it's already slightly budget. As long as you can get your Sunlight Wolves, you've now had a reprint of Silent Mining, which are going for about £7 each, or they were going for about £7 each. So you can actually build the deck on a budget, and it's still very, very powerful. Yes, they've lost Mirage Stalio, but the deck has been able to adapt and overcome that as well. The fact they still have Rage and Roar gives them a lot of back row protection, especially against cards like Dark Ruler No More. Now, when you look at a deck such as Invoked with your Shadows, and Shadow Winder is always going to be a pain because it's Winder Pass. Now, Winder can also not be destroyed by card effect as well, so there's a lot that sellers have to do to get past a Winder Pass. Whereas if you have the ability to get into your Pyro Phoenix, being able to go into your Sunlight Wolf backed up with a Roar and a Rage, it gives you enough out that your opponent can't build their board consistently in order to break yours. So with your back row control and the constant fact that you can consistently add them back from the grave, set them again, pop them, and even Sunlight Wolf looping them around, you've got enough to control the board. Not enough to go further up the list from 5 onwards, in my opinion, but just enough to sneak in 5th place above some others. Now the other decks that are floating around this area, do not worry, I will do an honourable mentions just before we hit that number 1 spot. So like I said, with Salads, they are pretty much budget already. All you need to do is get hold of the structure decks, or get hold of someone that's selling their Salomon Grace core, and then put yourself into some Signet Minings, which are like £7 to £10 each at max, alongside your Sunlight Wolves, which have had supers and rares. And rares, I think, we're going for like £4, so you should be fine with those as well. Moving on to the 4th spot. Now the 4th spot really fought it out. For me personally, I have one choice. For everyone else, they have another choice as well. So the one that I am going to put here in 4th is Heroes. Now the reason I'm putting Heroes here is because they've got both an insane first turn board and a second turn board. The reason they aren't higher up the list is purely because they can get absolutely smashed by stuff like Nibiru's and Dark Rulers No More, because they can't build in their own protection. The only outs they have to Dark Ruler No More is to be able to use Marsh Change to turn one of their monsters into the Dark Claw. Dark Claw is still one of the most powerful fusion monsters in my opinion. And when backed up with an Elemental Hero Shining Wingman, you actually have the ability to kind of protect them as well. That allows it to give you additional attack boost and allows you to burn through your opponent's board so they can't kill your Dark Claw consistently. Now, like I said, they will suffer against a Winder Pass. Winder Pass is kind of like the board, the base board that I am putting everything against. Now, you go over Winder Pass. When we get further up the list, you'll see that it's going to be backed up with an Invoked Engine of a Macabre as well, so as possibly a Kaliga as well. So not only can you only activate one monster effect, that one monster effect can be negated, and you can only special summon once. You're going to be in such a backward struggle as well, that you need to go first, or you need to be able to Dark Ruler and break their board as well. Heroes are one of the hardest ones on this list to make budget. However, just by taking out a Dusted Gold and Bane, you save yourself $100 to £100. And that straight away is an unnecessary card to add to the deck. It definitely gives you a better edge. And I'm not saying if someone goes, here, having Dusted Gold and Bane to put in your deck specifically, you're going to go, nah, I'm okay, I'm not going to play it at all. You're going to take it, you're going to play it. It gives you an additional OTK ability, it allows you to clear your opponent's board with Bane, and a Dusted Gold is an additional search that allows you to get additional fusion. Especially when we're no longer locked under Master Rule 4, you can put your fusion monsters wherever you want. It also gives you a lot of consistency. Now you can play Hero Toad should you wish. Toad is now at 1, but it does give you the ability to set up a negate. But in turn you do lose Faris, which is probably one of the most powerful heroes alongside Strauss. So you've got to balance that one out. I personally would be playing pure heroes. Faris does not bother me. You kind of have to take the risk though. If you get Nibiru, you have to be smart enough in order to build up your graveyard so that if you get Nibiru, you have enough to come back the next turn, or even have enough to carry on building after Nibiru. All heroes need is that one monster, one fusion or one link monster that literally says negate a card effect your opponent activates. It will make the deck busted because not only will they be backed up with a Sunriser that pops a card when an attack is involved with heroes, a Dark Claw that banishes everything and rips one from your opponent's hand, a Dystopia that has a quick play popper card. Like, the deck has a lot of a lot of interruptions within itself, or a lot of floodgate cards as well. Being able to give them a negate would just be busted. But I can see it happening. It is a fan favourite deck as well. It is something that the deck is screaming out for and missing because they do lock themselves into heroes. It would just be very interesting to see where it comes from. Now, heroes technically had a structure deck, but the amount of cards you use from that structure deck is limited. You mainly do use your Dark Lord and your Shadow Mist. Stratoses have come in supers. I think they came in common. Supers, ultras, and ultis. So you should be able to pick those up for about £3 to £4 each at base minimum, if not a little bit less. Faris is your next expensive card as well, and so is your increase, sitting at about £10 to £15 each. Now, at base minimum, you need 3 Faris and 1 increase, whereas you should be playing increase at 2. Sunlight is only about a £5 card. It's not incredibly expensive. And the rest of the extra deck, if you look at it, Ankis and Dark Lords aren't breaking the banks massively. And all your link monsters, again, are relatively cheap and easily put into the deck. So you can build it on a budget. The biggest cost does come in a Dusty Gold and Bane. And like I said, they don't have to be played. They can be taken out should you wish. Moving on to the third spot, one deck that got a little knockback, but not that big of a knockback, was Dragon Link. Now, Dragon Link were insanely popular thanks to the last YCS we had of the year, or before this lockdown came into effect, and we saw how powerful it was. All it took was that insane opening hand from that Salomon Grace player that wrecked the board. Nibiru plus Mind Control plus Phantasme, which was like insane. But Dragon Link are still very, very powerful. Now, the reason they haven't crept further up the board is purely because the two decks above them trump them. They have so many outs to the deck, they have so much built-in kind of disruption to the Dragon Link plays that they are able to break it easily and they're able to disrupt it easily enough. That's the only reason that Dragon Link sits at third and not second and first. So Dragon Link varies around whether you're using the level 3 Axis or whether you're going to go full Dragon Link Rocket plays. The whole idea is the fact that LP did not get banned, you can still use and abuse that card. You're still also able to use and abuse and build into certain negations should you need to. We also saw the level 3 access of Dragon Link that kind of allows you to use the Rocket's abilities to climb and flood the board and then go into your bigger Dark Dragon monsters that can then lock your opponent out or of course cause a lot of disruption during your opponent's turn with negations and interruptions as well. So Dragon Link sits at 3. Now Dragon Link actually took a Rocket structure deck and then it starts building upon it. So if you want to go with the Dragon structure deck and the Rocket structure deck version, you do have the ability to do that and keep the deck budget. The expense comes in when they start using stuff like Appaloosa that you can easily swap out should you need to for another level or link 4 monster. It won't be as powerful as an Appaloosa, but you can go into something like Crusadia Avramax should you want an alternative. Dragon Link still has then the powerful first turn play and second turn play and has a nice balance between the two. It can lose out to Nibiru, but if you play it correctly you can get into a negate within your first 4 summons. It does lose incredibly hard to Dark Ruler No More as it does not have any back row interruption or anything it can chain to that whatsoever. So Dark Ruler No More is going to take out about 90% of the decks on this list. There's probably 1 or 2 that can dodge around it here and there and get their biggest boss monster or their most influential boss monster off the board or swapped out of the board in order to keep negation or keep the kind of lockdown going. Dragon Link sits at 3rd. Now, moving on to second. Now, second is one of my personal favourite decks, and that is the Land Before Time, the Lost World, the Jurassic World. That is Dinos. Now, Dinos did not take a massive hit. Dinos actually got a nice little boost from the previous ban list, and it actually didn't get anything hit on this current ban list either. So Dinos still have the ability to VFD turn 1, and some people do underestimate what Dinos can actually do turn 1. So yes, they do serve a bigger weakness in that their first turn play isn't as consistent as their go second play. However, the reason this is above the other 3 decks is if played correctly, they can break any hero board, they can break any Dragon Link board, and they can also break any other board that they come up against, including Salomon Grace. They do have to open up the correct cards like their Twin Twisters. They do have to open up the correct cards to get into Ultimate Conductor Tyranna to clear the board off without actually activating any of its effects. And it does have to have the ability to get into the VFD play should it go first. There are a lot of consistencies that it needs to have. However, the deck can consistently break boards, it can consistently OTK, and it can, if underestimated, make an incredibly powerful board. Alongside stuff like Mystic Mine and Lost World, they can actually out-lock boards as well. They can lock out Floodgates. So Mystic Mine, if you leave yourself with 1 monster, all you need to do as a Dino player is get to Lost World, give your opponent a token, and in the end phase, that Mystic Mine is going to go. It can also main deck stuff like Lightning Storm, which clears off all back row or all front row as well. There's a lot to play around with it. The deck can perform at the highest levels that we have seen, and all it is missing at current is an increase in Lithosagan, which I don't think is going to happen. The deck is still incredibly powerful. Not only can it Trish play as well, it can also interrupt your opponent. UTC is going to be one of the most powerful boss monsters, or in my opinion is one of the most powerful main deck boss monsters that is relatively easy to get out, that can disrupt any board built. And that is why it sits, in my opinion, at number 2. Now before we get into number 1, some honourable mentions that you might be screaming at me, why is this not on the list? Now, I will have to go through some of these because they do affect the team on a personal level, is some of the decks are actually like their favourites. So we'll start with Madolche. Now, I was going to put Madolche in here. And the reason I was going to put Madolche in here is because they come back to Martial 3. They've come back to Martial 5 where it is a an element that they thrive on. They are incredibly powerful. Do not underestimate Tiramisu. Tiramisu actually just non-target shuffle 2 back from the graveyard to recycle their own abilities, and then non-target shuffle cards onto the board. So that is an incredibly powerful deck. Plus they're getting a lot of reprints coming out as well. We've also got Angelic confirmed as a reprint later on this year, and they just had Mageline and Chocolate Mode reprinted as well. So they're only missing a couple of cards. This is one of the decks that did not have a structure deck, but it is a deck that gets more powerful when we get the new core set, because they get their own Searchable Imperm that recycles cards, and a new spell card I believe as well. The deck has 2 1-card OTK combos. It is an OTK based deck. However, the only reason that this has not made my top 5 is it was battling it out. Personal opinion of heroes went in on me, so that is my personal choice. If Donald did this list, and if Joe did that list, the 4th place would go to Madolche's, and then DDDs as well. So DDDs did not make this list purely because we haven't been able to see them in their full glory in competitive play yet. Now, with the addition of Needlefiber and Gilgamesh, possibly they could be incredibly powerful. I've seen Joe's combos, I've seen everything he does. The deck does lose out hard to Super Poly, which is still at 3, and it does lose out to Dark Ruler no more. However, if you do not get the cards Light and Nibiru to stop the board being built, they can produce an incredibly powerful board, as Joe will be showing you in a future combo, where he's been able to set up 3 negates and then another 2 negates. It's an insane board that he puts together. So I will be showing you those as well. But DDDs is one that I couldn't put in the list because I personally haven't seen them do enough in the competitive scene. I've seen Dinos do a lot, I've seen Heroes do a lot, I've seen Salads, everyone's seen Salads do a lot. So justifiably, they just missed out. But in anyone's list, they could creep into the top 5. Another deck that I want to make a mention to is Fluffles as well. So Fluffles, again, very, very powerful. I showed you the profile and showed you the combo before. Again, I haven't seen them do enough in Master Rule 3 or now Master Rule 5 in the competitive scene to go, okay, I think they're better than the other ones I've listed on this already. I still think they're incredibly powerful, they're very, very useful, and I hope they prove me wrong. And I also hope DDDs prove me wrong and sneak into the top 5. And the only reason that Madolche's won in the top 5 is personal preference. I preferred Heroes over Madolche's. Now, Madolche's have got a much better go second board, in my opinion, just because they can non-target shuffle everything. But I feel that their first turn board isn't as strong as it could be in comparison to a first turn hero strong board and a second turn hero board. Only reason. Now before we move on, I did forget to mention how you can make Dinos cheaper. Dino Structure Deck is actually getting a reprint. So you're getting a UTC, you're getting an Overactor, you're getting a Miscellaneousaurus and a Baby Pterosaurus and a Petite Peridon. All of that stuff is getting reprinted. Double Evolution Pill, which not many people are actually playing, has got a reprint as well in Dual Overload. And the only expensive card that is insane to get hold of is, of course, that Pot of Extravagance. You can take that Pot of Extravagance out and you can play Pot of Desires as a cheaper alternative, but it is a bit more of a risky alternative as well. It really does balance itself back out. It depends if you've got the cost to pay or not. It does mean you can still build the deck budget. I know a player called Ben who actually builds a deck, sticks it on budget, and still does incredibly well with it. Extravagance obviously takes it to that next level and gives it a bit more consistency, but just being able to play Lost World alongside Diagrams, which are a little bit easier to get hold of, and Lithosagams into VFDs, gives you decent first turn boards and second turn boards. So that is how you can make that budget. Now, moving on to the number 1 deck, and I think this deck would be number 1. Even with the new sets coming out, I still think this is going to be number 1. I think the cards are too powerful. And that is Invoke Shaddolls. Now, even if you don't play it with Invoked, Shaddoll as a core engine with other stuff around it is insane. Absolutely powerful. Wind of Pass is still one of the most powerful cards to just sit on. It can't be destroyed by card effect. It is a 2200 attacker. Andrew can only special summon once. So the only way you get around that is being able to get a monster that can go into a 1 card that doesn't destroy a card. So unless you're able to get Galatea on the field without special summoning it or using your special summon ability and going into a Dingrisu, you're going to struggle to get rid of it. That is another deck I forgot to mention as well. Orcust. Orcust are definitely floating around the top 5. Definitely. It didn't get weaker. It gets stronger when we get the new core set. And it's incredibly powerful and still has control based, even with Harp Horror gone. Anyway, back on to number 1. I knew there was probably someone shouting at me going, how could you not put Orcust? That's why I forgot about it. Not to put it in the list, I wasn't going to put it in the top 5. It's definitely floating around the end, but it fits in with that Madolche DDD kind of era. Anyway, back to the Shadows. So, in the past, in Master Rule 5, you had to go into cross sheet, which you're still going to do. It's not going to change. But it means you're not going to lock out your extra monster zone. So, should you have to Shadow, Winder, pass, you still have the ability to kind of come back around without locking yourself out of the extra deck. Now, their best turn board, just imagine this. Their best turn board could easily be an IP Masquerina plus a Shadow Winder, an Invoke Macabre, and an Invoke Kaliga. So, you can only special summon once. You can only activate one monster effect. And any card effect you activate, as long as I've got it in my hand, I can negate it with Macabre. Yes, you Dark Ruler me, that's fine. Because the chances are they're probably sitting on a Super Poly or an El Shadow Fusion that's going to allow them to quick play, turn their window around. So once you've made your special summon, you go, ha, Dark Ruler no more. Normal summon one monster, special summon another monster. They go, hold up. El Shadow Fusion, quick play, send my Winds to the graveyard, special summon out another Winder. You're now locked out, you can't special summon anymore. My Winder I've just sent to the graveyard is going to give me my quick play back. That's it, what are you going to do? If they wanted to, as long as they play any of the other attributes like the Anantelis and your Grista, and of course your Construct, the second you put a Dark monster down on the field or a Light monster down on the field, their Super Poly is now live, and that's another threat you have to deal with. So not only do they get the normal summon effect of Alistair, the Invoker, to then carry on building and going to your Macabre and your Kaliga, they also have the ability of Shadow Fusion to go into their Winder and of course their Construct. Going second, they then go straight into the Boral Sword, and that can clear your board out straight away. No issues, no answers. As long as they get wind of their Winder, they go, I don't need you anymore, Winder. Winder, gone, you've done your job. Boral Sword, add back the Shadow Fusion, attack, Boral Sword, switch, attack. Oh, I didn't gain me? Fine, quick play, Shadow Fusion, boom. Construct, game. Insane. And Construct takes out any special summon monster in the game, except of course Winder, but then it just attacks over Winder and kills it anyway. There's going to be a lot of them mirror matches, and trust me, you can make this deck budget, you just have to lose the Invoked Engine. Now Rob actually builds the deck on a budget, and he does play it on a budget, and it's still incredibly powerful, both going first and second. The Invoked Engine just gives it a more powerful go first build, whereas just going through a pure OTK version, again, it can very, very work as well. And that is why Invoked, being a structure deck, being budget, and being as powerful and consistent as Winder is my personal number one. Now, I know I have gone on and on and on to you guys in this video. Hoped it all made sense. I hope you kind of kept up with it. If you have your personal 5, please put them down in the comments below. It'll be interesting to see where our personal 5s match up, where they change, and whether my personal opinion of heroes goes above, or is that the one that changes for you guys? Or maybe Salomon Grace is the one that changes, or Dragon Link, any other ones. I still think that the one to look out for is Invoke Shadows. You can play it on a budget because you've just got the structure that's just come out. And you can also, without an Invoked reprint, that's going to be expensive. If you do have them, definitely put it in there. It just takes the deck to a whole new level. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please smash that like button. Subscribe so you do not miss out on anything. If you like this top 5, then please let me know, and I'll do more videos like this as well, looking at side deck cards, meta cards, and everything else around it. But for now, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And until next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.